Welcome back to my world here on YouTube. I'm your host, Moises Beauchamp. Today, we're coming at you with a quick session. Today, we are talking about 10 days that we have left till the 1 year anniversary of little Dulce Alavez Disappearance. We're going to go over one of the first interviews that were done at the family when this thing first began. Just going to give everybody a few minutes before we continue as we share. And as you come in, share that we're on, hit that like button. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button and that bell, make that you are notified whenever we go live or we upload here on the channel. Give y'all a few minutes to come in and give me a few minutes to share. We're going to be talking about one of the first interviews that were done when this whole thing got started. My co-host and wife, Brenda, she's gonna break down the article and the interview. Again, as you come in, share that we on, hit the like button. Give y'all a few minutes before we continue. Give y'all a few minutes. As you come in, hit that like button. Wanna say hi to the audience so they could hear as the recording plays.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We will be
If you come in, hit the like button, share. We're gonna be continuing here in just a minute. We're just sharing that we're on, waiting for a few more guys to get in here, and we will continue with the content of the evening.
for the 4 that are here. Let us know if you can hear us.
Press 1 if you can hear us loud and clear. You can hear me. Press 1 if you can hear her loud and clear. Press 2. Say so.
Thank you for tuning in. Oops, I backed out of it again.
Press 1 if you can hear us.
Someone can't hear you as well.
Y'all can't hear me good? I will turn up my mic. How about now? Can you guys hear me a little bit better? How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You guys should be able to hear me now. Good Gully Mugger. So the whole beginning of the thing, you guys couldn't hear me.
They can, but not as well. But they can hear you now much better.
But yeah, now they should
Yeah.
be able to hear me loud and clear. All right. We're gonna be getting on with the content. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I didn't have my mic on. Ain't that something? But yeah, we're gonna be getting on with the content here in just a minute. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified when we go live. And hit that like button. Share that we're on. Share that we're on. You wanna
Did you want me to read the article
get
first
started? Yeah, I'm gonna
before I
get
play it?
started here. Give me just a second. You want to read the article first?
Yeah. Okay. Now, the article was released on October 3rd of 2019, and it's called "I Can't Find My Daughter." Officials released mother's 911 call reporting Dulce Maria Alavez missing. It states, Cumberland County has released a 911 call when the mother of 5-year-old Dulce Maria Alavez reported her daughter's disappearance from a park in Bushton. Dulce has now been missing for over 2 weeks. I can't find my daughter, Alavez Perez said. We are up there at the park, and people say that somebody probably took her. Alavez Perez said in the call that she was in the car when Dulce and her brother went running to the park. When Alavez Perez and her sister went looking for her, she says they found her son crying with Dulce nowhere in sight. They said someone threw his ice cream on the floor and my daughter just ran away, Alavez Perez said. Police believe a man lured Dulce away from the playground at the Bushton Park. She gets upset most when she looks at social media and stuff. Everything they say is not true and stuff. To ignore that. Dulce will find her soon, Jose Alavez said of Noema Alavez Perez. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy pleaded with the public on Thursday, urging anyone with information to come forward. We need anyone with information to step forward. Under the Attorney General's Immigrant Trust Directive, you are safe reaching out to the police without fear of any immigration consequences. This is about finding Dulce safe and sound, period, Murphy said. Bushton is a tight and proud community, working together in trust and partnership. I hope, we pray, and we can make this happen. Police are looking for a light-skinned, possibly Hispanic man who was seen driving a red van with tinted windows. At first, police issued an Amber Alert calling for the public to look out for the man. They now describe that person as someone they can just want to talk to and say they have no strong suspects. With 1-0033 or text anonymously to tip 411. Now, that still states something on there, that the part of the ice cream being knocked down to the ground. Well, like she said, the floor. And that Dulce ran away to behind the buildings, right? I believe that scenario possibly did happen. I believe the scenario of someone intentionally knocking Manny's ice cream down in purpose of getting Dulce to at least follow him behind the buildings, because maybe he watched how close they were and how much fun they were having, and he chose to, because she was real protective of him. We all seen it in the video at the store. So keep that in mind about what I just said about the possible theory of the actual abductor knocking down his ice cream to the ground, making Dulce run after him with maybe going to say, hey, that's not fair, why did you do that? Or maybe did he tell her, come and get some money, I'll replace the ice cream. The ice cream being knocked down on the ground is real important as well. So Right
Yeah,
after this.
that there was no commotion. Like you would think that little Dulce would have made some sort of commotion, screamed
Yeah.
or something.
She figures she can handle it. And
Or either that or she was familiar with
with the person.
with the abductor.
Well, go ahead. But now he's going to play this video of the interview that was given by the brother.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. This is the video that it was the brother was being interviewed here.
$1 reward for information on Dulce. He's upset. Enforcement.
Alavez vanished from a park. We're hearing her mother's emotional 911 call. Good evening, everyone. I'm Yuki Washington.
Here we
And
go.
I'm Jessica
Sorry about that,
Cartalia.
guys.
Eyewitness News reporter Greg Argos is live in Bridgeton with the call and a new interview with Dulce's family. Greg?
Good evening there, Jessica. Dulce Maria went missing feet from where I'm standing. Still no sign of her tonight. This weeks after her mother frantically called for help. It has been 17 days, 5 hours and counting since this very moment.
911, where's your emergency?
A frantic mom.
I can't find my daughter.
Noema Alavez Perez's daughter vanished around 4:50 Monday, September 16th. Investigators say 5-year-old Dulce Maria Alavez possibly taken by a man in a red van.
We were there at the park and people said that probably somebody took her.
Thursday, the 911 tapes released.
In Bridgeton Park.
Now near the park's entrance, just this glaring reminder of the possible abduction. But less than a mile away.
How are you holding up? I mean, to be honest, I try not to think about it a lot.
Dulce Maria Alavez's family constantly tormented over the missing girl. Her uncle, Jose Alavez, though younger, has now become his sister's protector.
She gets upset most when she looks at social media and stuff because everything's like they say is not like true and stuff. Like to ignore that and stuff. That Dulce will find her soon.
Federal, state, and local law enforcement actively working this case, offering a $35,000 reward for information on Dulce Maria's whereabouts, saying the alleged abductor is a light-skinned, possibly Hispanic man, about 5.5 feet tall with a thin build and acne. He may be driving a red van with sliding doors and tinted windows.
What do you think happened to your niece, sir? To be honest, I'm not sure.
And so now, with all this uncertainty, Jose says he and his family can only pray for Dulce's return.
Yeah, I want her to be safe, like nothing bad happened to her. We're praying a lot every morning and every night.
Now Jose tells me the family is preparing to gather for prayer and to search this park once again early Saturday morning. I'm live here in Bridgeton, New Jersey. Greg Argos, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
All right. So, there goes his interview. Interesting. When that interview first came out, it did well for the family because everybody wanted, like the community wanted to see the families, come out more. But then it wasn't good for for the family because of his bodily behavior that he had while he was sitting getting interviewed. And I know that some people might be camera shy and maybe that's why you did it, but we're unsure into what was I was unsure into what seemed to be like he wanted to laugh, but he didn't. He kind of held his composure, and I'm glad that he held himself back and still send out his message about Dulce. But I don't get it. Like, your niece is missing and I don't understand why, the chuckles or the grins, and then this is what makes them look bad, because it seems to be that even the mom sometimes seems to be grinning, he sometimes seems to be grinning, and and the grandmom sometimes with her cry. No, and we're not here, like I said, we're not here to judge, we're just here to clarify. And this article was written in October 3rd of 2019, and it clearly says that it was a light-skinned Hispanic. He was about 5'6", clean-shaven, and believed to have lured Dulce into a red van with a sliding door. Now,
my question is real quick. I mean, besides that, this brother, seemed like it was funny what was going on. Like, either he was nervous, and some people get nervous and laugh or whatever. But my question is this the brother that they contacted to come back with Lalo the dog?
I mean, you would, if it was, I'm pretty sure. See, because all the news articles clearly cover the same part of her calling a brother to bring the dog. So whether it was in the beginning and it gave a name, all the way until now that it doesn't give a name, it just kind of says it. You would have had assumed that during that interview, it would have, he would have stated it himself. I was the brother that she called, and I frantically went over there. She called me to bring the dog, and because even what those are character interviews, because then that would know how she acted when she knew that her daughter was missing, because obviously she called them first before she called the police. So if she was really frantic and nervous and going crazy looking for her daughter, they would know. So they would want to step up and help her, with how the community's been, some of them are against her and some of them are with her. The ones that are against her, with them coming forward, and speaking about, no, she was frantic. She did call me and she told me to bring the dog. Things like that would matter. There was an interview out there before where the grandma, they had did an interview, and it was a Spanish interview. I haven't found it yet because apparently they must have took it down. I don't know why, but there was an interview before with the grandma, and she stated that when Noema had called her, that she barely could understand what Noema was saying because she was crying and she was all over the place. And that's an interview that I want to find. If anybody actually has that interview and you would like to email it to us, I'd appreciate it. Or does anybody remember seeing that interview where they interviewed the grandma and she was talking about how when Noema called her and she couldn't understand what she was saying because she was crying and she was trying to explain to her that Dulce was missing. Those are character interviews, because that would tell us a lot more about how she acted when her actual daughter went missing, because during the interviews that she's given, she looked so cold, but when she called her family, she seems to have sounded like a concerned mom. That would be, that would have been awesome, but I highly doubt that that's the brother who she called to go to the park. It being that he just got his interview and that was stated, I'm pretty sure that the news reporter would have not have missed out on the opportunity and including that in a video. I would just assume. We're not newscasters, but that would have been a pretty good character interview.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was just curious if that was the brother in which she contacted to come back with Lalo the dog. But because that dog really has been on my mind for some strange reason. But moving on.
Yeah, it's been on everyone's mind because you called your mom, right? You called your mom. Obviously, we heard from her, and she said yes, and then you hear from the other sister, Nibir, and she's saying how Noema is hurt because of all the badging that's going on the internet about her. And then you hear from you hear from the brother saying that he has to be her protector. But not one time did this brother mention that he was the one that went over there when his sister called him and told him to bring the dog. I mean, I'm pretty sure if that would have had happened to me, I'm pretty sure my brother or somebody would have had included that in an interview, especially if it's a common question that people are asking. You know, you would have, it was circulating a lot, like which brother brought the dog. You know, and here to this day, it's going to be a year in and we still haven't heard from this said brother with the dog.
You know, and another thing that boggles me, when Naoma contacted 911, her exact words was, "I can't find my daughter." Right? I can't find my daughter. We're at the park and people say that somebody probably took her. Okay, people say that probably somebody took her, but then come to find out that the only witnesses in the park is a set of girls that supposedly were playing basketball. But she's saying to the 911 people that people say that somebody probably took her. So I don't know. I'm just confused. What do you think?
That's a good question, because I really didn't. That kind of like slipped my mind, I guess, in thinking, because like the chief, you know, they stated that there was 2,000 people in the basketball court, right? And normally the basketball courts on Mayor Akins Road is the one that are more popular right now with people, because it was a newly paved, you know, like it was a newly paved basketball courts. But that's true. Like, you know, people say that someone probably took her, but then she states maybe those people were two girls, and she says it like that, because I don't know, she said ice cream on the floor. We don't know, but it is good that she meant people. That means maybe she did mean adults. Someone told her. But then by time, did you think that honestly maybe there was people there? You know, like there was people there, right? And then by the time the cops came, maybe they just weren't there no more. You know, because
I mean, yeah, that could be a good possibility, a very strong possibility.
That's, you know, that they had left. You know, because obviously someone is missing from that, from being in that park, and it's probably not only just the person on the sketch, but I'm pretty sure that there's a few more that are missing, you know, that are missing to be interviewed, and they probably seem like they don't want to be involved or anything like that, and it could just, well, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people left before the cops arrived, because you know how you can find your crowd that would want to help you find your child, and then you would find that crowd that would turn the other cheek and say that's not my problem.
Right. And you know, the sketch itself really bothers me, because I really don't think that sketch is accurate. I really don't think that what the person that we're looking for looks like what we're looking at on that sketch. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know. It's just, I don't get a good vibe from that sketch.
Well, nobody does, because when the Amber Alert came out and they told you who took her, right? I don't understand why a sketch wasn't immediately released after that, because obviously they had enough to go on to do a sketch. They had the clean shaven, they had the acne, right? And they had enough. If that person seen acne on that person's face, they was too close. You were too close to notice that that person had acne. There's no way from the distance from where she was parked all the way up to the swings that you can see acne on anybody's face. You was within, what, about 5 to 10 feet, maybe a little bit further than that, to had noticed that the abductor had pimples on his face, because that's not something that you can see from far. I mean, I don't know, I don't have great vision and I wear glasses, but I would like to hear from them 20/20 vision people. How far do you have to be to have been able to spot acne on somebody?
I know that's right. Either it was a serious case of acne that was that noticeable, or this person was fairly close to notice this acne, like the way they have it drawing on this sketch. But yeah. And then another thing about that sketch is that the description that we got from the beginning was clean shaven, and then they said goatee. So which one is it? Clean shaven or goatee?
Yeah, and Kitty Cat is she put out there and she said, yeah, and it's true. They said a possible witness, but not even as a witness did he come forward. And another thing, like how my husband was just stating, I was waiting for a sketch when the first initial description came out, because it sounded like they had enough to even build the face. Because obviously if you would have had noticed acne on somebody, they could have gave you the rest of the description of that person. There's no way that all they knew is that he was clean shaven with a goat, with pimples on his face, but you couldn't tell if his nose was narrow or his eyes were blue. Because apparently the acne was more attracting. You would have had thought that you would have gotten a sketch then, but then the sketch that they released had not. And the thing is that person had total different clothing from what the person had on. This one had on, like, the sketch that just came out, he had on a white shirt, I believe it says, with blue jeans. It doesn't even have what the first person had. So that it was like, for a whole whatever time, people have been chasing around looking for the wrong people.
And then he's at the beginning he was a person of interest or a witness, and now all of a sudden he's a suspect. That's the newest and latest thing that we gotten, is that he's a suspect.
Yeah, he has now been deemed a suspect per the article that was just released, because that article did state that the sketch, they could have been the abductor. Before they didn't want to say that because they weren't for sure, but now with certainty, they're saying he could have been the suspect. Yeah, and I do too. I believe that because she did say in the 911 call that it was a Hispanic man and a black man. And, and like I said, sometimes a lot of them work under the sun. They get a little darker. You could have had two Hispanic males, but one was, darker than the other, and was assumed to have been a black male, like she stated on the 911 call. But yeah, I believe that there was two.
Right, and like you said, there's a lot of dark-skinned Hispanic people.
Yeah, and around September, a lot of them are still working outside doing landscaping. So they, we burn a lot. I mean, if we're outside on the sun 24/7, we turn like 13 shades of the next color by the time the summer is over. But I believe that there was two. I believe that there was two because,
it's definitely starting to seem that way. That's for sure.
Well, two, and in the call she stated two. She said a black man and a Hispanic man, and then that's why I don't understand, because on a Dr. Phil show, it's like she only kept insisting that the girls spotted the black man going behind the buildings, and I don't know why she didn't yet. There's stated the Hispanic male. Like correct the call.
Another thing that I've been wondering is the gentleman that she mentioned on the Dr. Phil show. The gentleman that she said that was liking her or whatever, was chasing her.
Yeah.
But she had turned him down or whatever. That person, whatever happened with that? We never heard nothing else about it after the Dr. Phil show.
No. But I mean, even at a time of crunch time, and you felt intimidated by Dr. Phil, and that because remember, she was questioned for hours at the police station. I don't understand why she didn't state that then, because I do believe that after the Dr. Phil show, she was, because I think it was in an article or something like that, she was questioned about what she stated on the Dr. Phil show. So that's what I don't understand. Like, why didn't you state that in the beginning? Dr. Phil show was so way far as down there in November, and your child was gone in September. But why then did you want to mention? You still didn't mention the Hispanic male. Only mentioned the black male about the 911 call during the Dr. Phil show. But the only Hispanic male that you mentioned was this so-called gentleman that approached you and asked you if that was your daughter. But why did you feel like he would have taken her? You know, you had to have felt some kind of way that you would have literally thought that person would have taken her, because that's what they ask you to do. Do you think anybody that's around you would have taken her? You didn't think anybody else. You didn't think of your family. You didn't think of nobody that one time. But at the Dr. Phil show, because he asked you a couple times, you know, you talk about this gentleman, you know, that just approached you because he liked you. You know, so because you didn't like him, he desired your daughter.
Yeah, that really didn't make sense to me. And then, I don't know. There's in that community, the Bristol community, there's a lot of gang activity, and she also spoke about that on the Dr. Phil show. Mm-hmm. And not to mention no names, but a certain person involved in the group seems to think that it was gang related as well, which kind of just makes you think, is this thing gang related or what? What's really going on? I mean, it's almost a year. We got 10 days, till a year that this little girl's been missing, and we have no new information, nothing to, to kind of like excite us. It's just been, a bunch of crazy things going on. And I really would like to know what's going on in this case. Why is there so many different avenues and scenarios?
Well, you have to think about all types of avenues, because like she stated, she was living her best life. She was living her best life just like anybody else was living their best life. So, and she also hung out with the wrong crowd. So if she owed something, it would be gang related. If she hung around people that she didn't even know that are like little girls, she still hung around the wrong crowd. Since she was living her best life, she wasn't noticing that sometimes that life would draw the different type of attention, to you. And unfortunately, your child is now missing. And
right, and when you're young, you make mistakes, and then now, as you grow older, and like someone said, they could really be in fear, because it could be that serious.
I just honestly don't think she bonded with Dulce. There's a difference. Like when you have you can carry your child, but doesn't mean you're gonna bond with your child. She even said that her mom kicked her out. In yesterday's article that we read, she even stated that her mom kicked her out because she was so mad. She was always angry. So then she didn't enjoy any of her pregnancies and being a mom. She didn't bond with Dulce. I'm pretty sure now she's getting she's doing the bonding, because now she's older. Now she actually had a child now in her older, in the older period of her life at 19, when she probably wanted to be a mom. I don't think she really wanted to be a mom at 14.
She was
But
a
it
baby
happens.
having a baby.
You know, and it depends on that too. Like if the grandmom has stepped in and said, hey, well, you know what, I'll take care of it. And like she said she was living her best life. So it clearly shows she didn't want to be a parent at that time. So the bonding wasn't there. The bonding wasn't there with her being a mom. And that's probably why she looks so flatlined when she's talking about Dulce. But that doesn't signify none of that changed when she had her new baby and she actually got to want to bond with her and then feel, because right now with her maybe pushing forward and how she's been coming out to the light, I'm pretty sure that the new baby has taught her how to bond. And that has been, you know, having her shed a little bit of her shyness or whatever she's going through, and to come forward and speak more and do more in association with Dulce's disappearance, because honestly we're like 10 days away, and so far we've had 13 different descriptions about her clothing even when she went missing, because I remember they have even stated that she had a long pink shirt on. She had a long pink shirt on, something else, and then her clothing description within the first week or so, all of that was even mixed up. Then we had two different descriptions of the first male that took her. I mean, not took her, but it was a possible witness. And then we have the one that came out with a sketch that was totally different from the first one. And then the red van with a sliding door, but then we get a video that was leaked that looked like an SUV, and that didn't look like it was a sliding door. So I mean, there was a lot of, nothing was together with anything when she disappeared. None of it was together. Everything looked like it was just thrown out there, and people had to figure out what was real information and what wasn't real information. But I don't even understand how that second sketch, you know, the actual sketch that came out would be even more valid than the first initial description that was given. Right? Because the second description, the sketch, with that second description, the sketch came out immediately. You know, but here's the first description and we didn't even get a sketch. But anyway, now that we got those things out of the way, I still want to go back to the point of in this article and a few articles where it says and it states that Manny's ice cream was thrown on the ground. Well, remember, she says floor, but she really means ground. That's almost like a key to kind of what happened, you know, during the midst of it all, because a lot of abductors would use maybe an animal or something like that, but this said individual,
something to entice the child to come to them.
Yeah, this said
a
individual.
Toy, candy.
Yeah, well, he used the tactic of throwing Manny's ice cream on the ground, and because it says it, people said that somebody threw his ice cream on the ground, on the floor, right? And that her daughter ran away behind the buildings, right? She didn't run away, because that don't even sound good either. She didn't run away. She's only 5 years old. She ran off.
Right. I think that's what the mother.
Somebody.
No, that's what the mother said in the 911
Yeah, that some
call.
people. Yeah,
that somebody threw his ice cream on the ground and Dulce ran behind the buildings.
Yeah, she said she ran away behind the buildings. You know, and that didn't sound good for her either, because ran away is, you know, she's only 5. She ran off behind the buildings. And I believe that part was true. Somebody seen her running behind those buildings. And the only reason why they didn't know that an abduction was about to happen is because it looked normal. And for some reason, that person that was talking to both of them, that was talking to Manny and to Dulce at the park, seemed to have fit in like some type of person that they knew, either maybe an acquaintance or because not even Dulce kind of shooed them away. It was normal. So they somehow, that person who took her met Dulce, and it made her feel comfortable with him being there because it looked normal. These people that stated that she was lured into a vehicle, they didn't even know an abduction was happening. And I'm pretty sure if someone seen her fight, or if she even yelled, I mean, they saw acne on his face. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would see something else that was going on. But nobody came forward and went to go find these parents, her parents, and say, hey, I think somebody was just taking your kid. I mean, because it looked too normal. It looked like it belonged. Like whatever was happening, it looked like it was okay, like a family. Like, it probably, them girls probably thought that gentleman was their father. Maybe that's how normal it looked, that they even didn't say anything because they assumed that the gentleman that was around these two children was the father. Because
Could be because there was no commotion. You understand what I'm saying? There was no, she didn't scream. It almost seems like she, like he just took, like she went with him.
And I think that when she allowed that gentleman to come into her circle when her and Manny were playing, because kids, when I mean circle, the trust circle, I don't think she practiced the buddy system too well, because he must have violated that trust somehow. Once that ice cream landed on the ground, I'm pretty sure she knew he wasn't playing fair about the ice cream. I don't think she even knew then that something was about to happen to her either, because she still insisted on running behind those buildings to do what? Did she run back there to tell these people, or whoever was back there waiting for her, that what they just did to Manny was not fair? They did, because they just got those ice creams. You would think, come on now. I'm pretty sure if my kids, something like that was to happen to my kids, right? And somebody knocks down the ice cream and they just got it, wouldn't they be upset?
Yeah, I know our kids would. They'd be ready to fight.
Yeah, they would be upset, and especially if they just got it and they didn't even get to enjoy it. That would be seamlessly.
It just seems like, being that there was no screaming or no kind of fuss, seemed like little Dulce knew this person enough to approach him.
And even if she knew him from the park, because she's always been at the park, so maybe this said individual, because they said that the first description, the gentleman had walked out of the park with it had a little girl and a little boy with him, right? 2 kids with him. So maybe he was a regular person too that used to take his children to the park. And then that's how she knew who he was, because maybe she played with his children. And then, at that time, maybe he put his kids in the car, then he went around and he came to get Dulce. Nobody knows that.
See, and then that leads me back to the question from yesterday. Did little Manny come running to the car? Or did mom get out the car to go see what's up with them? You know what I'm saying? I'm really starting to believe that first scenario, that the original scenario, that little Manny came running to the car. Although the prosecutor's office and the media all say that mom got out the car and went to assess the situation. I seem to believe that it was the other way. That first scenario, I seem to resonate with that more than that other scenario.
Only because it makes more sense, because of the timeline. They were still at the store at 4:05, right? 4:05 p.m. they were still at the store. Yesterday's article we just read, Amber Alert, last seen at the park was about 4:20. So, and it only takes 5 minutes from that Sunoco to the park. And depending which way you go and how fast you drive, you could be there in 3 minutes. And how crazy the people drive in Bridgeton, they probably got there in 2 minutes. Now, at 4:20, let's just say she got there about what? 4:05. I mean 4:11. Let's just say she got to the park at 4:11. Right? The kids got out the car. You gotta wait for the kids to get out the car, and she probably said what she had to say as a parent, or did she just pull up and they waited for her to throw that car on park, and then they ran out, or did she have a talk with them? Don't go over there until I get there. You know what I mean? Did you have that talk with your child? So that's usually about 2 more minutes.
It seems to me like that talk didn't happen in this case. Seems to me like the kids just popped out and ran out to the park. That's what it seems like to me.
And so they run off to the park, right? This happened as soon as they got there, because I'm pretty sure, like they said in the article that just came out not too long ago, that the person, since it was a crime of opportunity, that means that maybe the person was already at the park, and they was probably not eyeing out Dulce, but the struggle of him trying to find somebody that was kidnappable at the moment. But here comes Dulce, right? Here comes two kids from a kidnapper's point of view. He was probably like, okay, he probably looked at them kids and said, let me see if I see the parents. Because remind you, they said a crime of opportunity. So he must have been at the park about 4 o'clock, like that article states. So he was there about 4 o'clock. That means he could have been eyeing out those girls that were there at the basketball court. But here comes two kids. Both of them are unattended. You have a 5-year-old, and then you have a 3-year-old. And he must have just got closer. He probably got closer to even scope out the scene a little bit closer, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't just going to go snatch a kid up if he knew that parent could have came around the corner at any given moment. He didn't know where that parent was at, but he just knew that there was two kids at the park and there was unattended. He probably moved in a little closer, scoped the thing out, probably played with them or said, oh, you got ice cream? What kind of conversation popped off that you was able to get into her circle, knock Manny's ice cream off of his hand, make it go on the ground, causing her to run after you, causing him to run to his mother to tell him about the ice cream and his sister.
Right. It's it's like they're saying it was a crime of opportunity. So that tells me that this person really wasn't there per se looking to take a kid. It's just that the opportunity presented itself.
Yeah. But then they stated that they needed to get pictures from 4 to 6, meaning that they believe that he was at the park a little bit before Dulce got abducted, because she wasn't going to be the target. She wasn't the target. So that he could have been there scoping somebody else. And I'm not saying like he's been out there for an hour or 2 hours. He could have just arrived there in a 20-minute time span, was scoping out the area, was probably looking at those little girls playing basketball, because he loved to watch children. And here comes 2 young little children running in the park for a good 5 minutes. 5 minutes might seem short, small, when you say it. 5 minutes might seem like, oh, that wasn't that long. But to somebody who's watching to take somebody, 5 minutes, even getting to 3 minutes, to them was seemingly like, okay, well, you know what, nobody's gonna come around right now, because 3 minutes might have seemed like too long of a time for them.
You'd be surprised. 30 seconds could be a lifetime.
Yep. I hope that the only regret that she ever has in life is just allowing her children to run off while she sat in the car. But we don't know what she was feeling that day. She was pregnant. She obviously didn't even look any happier than what she's been looking. In the video, she seemed to just be out of it somewheres. But I believe that's what happened. I believe maybe the scenario sounds a little bit more logical and taking what the article says, that Manny did run up to the car. It only makes more sense because I don't think, because if you didn't see anything happening, then obviously you was too dedicated in your car too long. And I believe that when she ran back there to go get that guy, and Manny probably noticed that she didn't come back. That's when he kept running to the car and telling him, trying to tell them, because he's a nonverbal child, that something was happening. And unfortunately, Manny being nonverbal, and that could have been another thing too that the abductor caught on while he was talking to them. Hey, what kind of ice cream do you got? And she was probably able to say what kind of ice cream she got. But when it came to Manny looked like he can talk because of his, of his age and everything. But maybe he wasn't able to say what kind of ice cream he had. So he probably already knew that child was nonverbal.
Right, yeah, he probably did know. It could have been anything at this point. Could have been anything.
Yeah, that too. He could have dropped his ice cream. Yeah, he could have dropped his own ice cream. I've thought of that too. But it being that all the articles mentioned that someone told her that the gentleman threw the ice cream on the ground. And that's the only thing that hasn't changed either. That part of her from the beginning till now still hasn't changed. It's still the same thing. That's something that hasn't changed. Like Manny came up to the car, but no, now she's saying that she got out of the car. So that those stories didn't change. Just like how the father wasn't in the picture, but then he is in the picture. This still seems to
It just seems to be a lot in this case that just doesn't make sense, right? Like, just a lot of inconsistencies. But
I believe that when she got around that corner, just like Lenny Street says, I believe that when she got around that corner, maybe there was a dog in the vehicle. And because I believe that they said she was a dog lover. So you running back there to tell him, hey, why you do that to Manny? And then seeing the dog could have kind of like, melted the situation. And she probably got distracted with the dog. If there was a dog, because usually abductors use candy, but in this
it could have just been someone with a dog, and like Lenny says, he approached Dulce, in reference to the dog, and being that Dulce loves animals as much as she does, it was acceptable to her, and in that process, little Manny dropped his ice cream. He could have literally just dropped his ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is what I wanted to come on and talk about today. This kind of clears up our session. If you guys right now, while we have a lot of yous interacting right now with our chat, is there anything that you guys want to talk about tomorrow? So maybe we can pull up an article, maybe a topic. Because usually we will try to dig to see if we find something that's of value of trying to break down and speak about.
Yeah, don't forget about these events that are going on.
Oh, yeah.
We have one on the 13th and the other one on
the 16th.
The 16th. But don't forget about those events. Support by showing up and so on.
The one on the 13th, it's on a Sunday and it's hosted by Jackie. And that one is from the times of 11 to 3, like 11 in the morning to 3 p.m. I believe that it is. If any further question that you guys have in reference to that visual that she's holding, you guys can contact her on Facebook. And the other one is on September 16th, and I believe that that one is hosted by the family and some other said individuals, and that one is from the times of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Once again, any further information between, you guys need in reference to these visuals, you can contact Jackie for the one on the 13th, and then you can contact, I believe is the group that Amanda Feliciano or Kim Phillips, where those said individuals, where their group is at, those are the said individuals that would have more information and do, to the events that they're having. But that's all I have to say for. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is me, Brenda, and good night, guys. And I'll leave my husband to close down the chat.
All right. So with that said, my good peoples, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you're new to the channel, this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, the bell, like that you're notified whenever we go live. Hit me up. Let me know if you have any ideas on some of the topics that we could be covering here. We here lately we've been talking about this Dulce Alavez case. This channel is geared to talking about random topics. We will be discussing other topics after the year anniversary comes in. After that's done and over with, we'll start covering other topics. But with that said, my good peoples, that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you once again for tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out. Share this information. And I'm gone. Peace. One love.